Hi everyone. A few months ago there was a tiny little matter of the US, UK, and France. How can I put this? Oh yeah, bombing the shit out of Syria for no reason. They said that Assad perpetrated a chemical attack on his own people. The White House said it was sarin, I believe, and they killed dozens of people, and that's why they bombed Syria. Which made no sense because Assad was winning the war with Russia's help. Why would he gas them when he knows that that's the one thing that would galvanise the rest of the countries in the world to bomb him and to come out against him? Makes no sense. He's winning it. Just carry on winning it, win the war, get your country back. Multiple reporters, independent reporters, including Robert Fish, 7 times World Overseas Reporter of the Year, I think he was, said that actually what we saw in the video, I'll show the video up here of those children that were being treated for supposed chemical exposure. What they were actually being treated for, according to the doctors I've spoken to, was hypoxia. They were suffering from, they couldn't get oxygen because of dust inhalation, because there was shelling going on there. They were in the tunnels underneath, dust came up, got in their lungs, they went to the hospital. And the doctor said, while we were treating the kids for the hypoxia, some white helmets came in, started filming, somebody shouted gas, and they started pouring water on the kids. 10 minutes later, they finished filming and all left. That's what the independent reporters reported on. That's what I reported on. Mainstream media totally ignored it. Totally ignored it. In fact, mainstream media just smeared anybody who came out in opposition to what this propaganda that we were being subjected to. You may remember they even claimed that 2 people on Twitter were bots when they were obviously people, one of them had a blue check mark, Syrian girl. So they were relying on the OPCW to go in there and come out and say, yeah, okay, we found evidence of a gas attack. Well, the OPCW have released their report. This is from the Zero Hedge. No nerve agents in Douma. OPCW report demolishes White House sarin narrative. Uh-oh. This is big. If that's true, then we've bombed this country with no evidence. A preliminary report published Friday by the OPCW found no traces of any nerve agent at the site of a suspected chemical attack in Syrian city of Douma. The OPCW report states this unambiguously as follows, quote, no organophosphorus nerve agents or their degradation products were detected in the environmental samples or in the plasma samples taken from the alleged casualties. None. So it wasn't a nerve agent. Could it have been something else though? We'll get to that question in a second. Compare the newly published official OPCW findings with the 5-page White House assessment released on April the 13th, just days after the alleged chemical attack. Now contradicted by the new OPCW findings, the White House asserted that sarin was used in Douma. The White House said this at the time on April the 16th. A significant body of information points to the regime using chlorine in its bombardment of Douma, while some additional information points to the regime also using the nerve agent sarin. So they've ruled out sarin, wasn't sarin. What about the chlorine? There's a picture there in this Zero Edge article of that CNN sniffing for biological weapons in Syria. That's just it's one of the funniest, most stupid things I've ever seen. But this is from the OPCW report, and somebody has kindly underlined the important bits. And it says the results show that no organophosphorus nerve agents or their degradation products were detected. Okay, I've already said that. What about the chlorine now? Well, it says this about the chlorine. It says, along with explosive residues, various chlorinated organic chemicals were found in samples from the 2 sites, for which there is a full chain of custody. Work by the team to establish the significance of these results is ongoing. The FFM team will continue its work to draw final conclusions. In other words, we found some chlorine, but chlorine's everywhere. we got to do further testing to find out what sort of chlorine and where it was used, how it was used, blah, blah, blah. In other words, we found some chlorine, but you can find chlorine everywhere. We've got to do further tests. And then the last sentence that's underlined down the bottom, it says the FFM cannot confidently determine whether or not a specific chemical was used with a weapon, as a weapon in the incidents that took place in Douma. So they've said, A, it wasn't sarin, no organophosphorus, nerve agents were found. They've said, B, we've found various chlorinated organic chemicals, but we've got to do further testing on them because chlorine can be found everywhere, anywhere. And then 3, they've said, we cannot confidently determine whether or not a specific chemical was used as a weapon. They've said those 3 things. Now look at the BBC headline. You are not going to believe this if you haven't seen it. Their take on those 3 things that I've just highlighted from the OPCW's report, from their investigations in the city of Douma, in the town of Douma, those 3 things that they found have been spun by the BBC to read this headline. Syria attack was chlorine gas. Guys, this is huge, okay, because that's not propaganda, that's lies. Propaganda is spinning something to... This is lying. That's an outright lie. The deadly attack in Douma in April left dozens and caused an international outcry. Or left dozens and caused an international... That doesn't make sense. There must be a word cut off. They've changed that. The BBC did. A few hours later, they've changed that headline. It now reads, Syria war possible chlorine at Douma attack site, which is more accurate, but again, shouldn't be the lead. The lead should be, no chemical weapons found at attack site, the same as Zero Hedge. That's the big thing here. We've bombed, the 3 of us have bombed a country based on evidence that we cannot prove, and all the evidence points to it not happening. That's what the headline should be. Instead, the BBC go with Syria attack was chlorine gas. If there is not a clearer a case, or if that doesn't give you reason right now to get everybody you know and yourself together and stop paying the goddamn TV license, I don't know what is. Because that is propaganda of an order that I haven't seen for a very, very long time. And the BBC need to be ashamed of themselves for doing it. They won't be. They're shameless. But this is why the BBC are just awful. No chemical weapons were found at Douma. No traces of chemical weapons were found at Douma. This is what the news should say. No nerve agents found at Douma. No witnesses to testify that nerve agents were made at Douma. However, we've got multiple witnesses to say that, hey, there was no chemical attack. We've got multiple witnesses to say that that video was filmed by the White Helmets and they just did it and then left. We've got their names. We've got the names of their fathers. We've got the names of the children. The headline should read exactly the same as the Zero Hedge or something very similar. No nerve agents in Douma. But instead the BBC went with Syria attack was chlorine gas. Ditch the TV license, because that is shameful. If you enjoyed this video, please click the bell down there and subscribe so you get a notification of next time I drop a video. Also, I can't do this without your help, so if you can afford it and you enjoy my videos, please support the channel by subscribing to my Patreon. Link is down there. You can do it for as little as $1 a month, and it really does help. If you can't afford it, that's fine. Please share my work and talk to other people about the issues that I bring up. Thanks very much for your support. Until next time, peace and take care.